Hello, hello, hello. David Snowbeck here from Snowbeck Games. I am really behind on getting set up for this stream. I usually start a couple minutes earlier and get out all of these different messages to the different channels that the stream is starting in 10 minutes or whatever, and I have failed to get those out quite quick enough, so I apologize. I think at the beginning of the stream, I'm going to send out some social media messages. That's not a very interesting stream to watch, but there's always a little bit of waiting at the beginning of the stream because I like to also start the stream with some play testing, and it takes a little while for people to get connected. So here's what we're going to do. Let me make sure I have the right screen up in OBS. I do not. Here we go. There's the right one. So you can see down there, there is a bit.ly link, which will take you to the web version of the game of Retro Tank Party, the game that we're going to be working on today. And the audio is coming through here. Hang on. Let's kill the music. And I'm going to share with you guys a private match code. And whoever wants to play test the game at the beginning, you can use the code to get in there, and we'll do a quick little round. And while we were waiting for folks to show up and get connected, I'm going to finish sending out my social media messages. I sent the Twitter one. Let me send some of these other ones. And then we'll start talking a little bit about what we're going to do today. Where the heck did I put my Discord? Here we go. Doing things on social media on stream. Only have like 3 messages to send, so it's not a big deal. It's not really a big deal. But next time I will definitely do a better job about getting ready in advance. So 1 Discord message out, and the next one over on the Godot engine page, or Discord. All of my prepared messages too, of course, say stream starting in 10 minutes, but it's starting now. Stream starting. Stream has already started. And one last one to send. Anyone who is joining now, I am just quickly sending some social media messages announcing the stream. Sorry that I didn't get this done in advance. And then if you want to join a little quick play test, I put the match ID in chat. I'll post it again because not all the streaming services we send to preserve the chat if you got there after. And I will tell you about what we're going to work on today in Godot as soon as I am not having trouble multitasking. Game Dev live stream on Facebook, because we are on Facebook, we are on Twitch, we are on YouTube, we are on everything. Okay. All right, I think I got that all out. I think we're good. Sorry, guys. Not my best stream start. Let me get chat open up here, and we can get going. All right, so hi again. David Snowbeck here from Snowbeck Games. Today we're going to be working on continuing what we were doing in the last stream, switching the networking in Retro Tank Party from this very simple naive method to a much more advanced rollback and prediction method. I've done a little bit of work since last stream, which I will tell you guys about in a moment. But first, I usually like to start streams by playtesting the game a little bit, which is fun. People from stream can join. I posted a match ID in the chat. If you're just getting here and it isn't present in the chat, and you want to play, like, ping me and I'll repost it. I know not all of the services we're streaming to keep the stream history or the chat history. And hopefully we'll get a quick little game going before we start totally breaking this game by changing the networking. I actually didn't have that much time to work on it since last stream. Oh, hey! Ricardo was here for a second and now is gone. Did you get the message about the client version not matching? That could be because you're using a different version than I am, which if you went to the bit.ly link, you should be using the same version. I don't know how that could be happening. Anyway, let me know what error you're getting, and I can do some on-stream troubleshooting. So as I was saying, though, I didn't have a ton of time to work on the game since the last stream. I got stuck doing a bunch of video editing and like stuff that takes a lot of time and I don't really enjoy doing and doesn't feel that productive for me. But I made a new trailer for the game. We'll see if Ricardo is able to get back in. Here, I'll just show you guys this trailer real quick. It's funny because it's the same audio as the previous trailer, but I replaced all of the gameplay clips with new gameplay clips. Not all of them, actually. There were 2 that I kept because, you know, the game has had a new update, the version 1.1 update with more power-ups, and like the original trailer never had all of the different maps in it, so I wanted to make a slightly better one.
Oh, man! Yeah, your game sucks. The worst game ever made. Justin, you want to see the worst game ever made? It's right here on my screen.
Oh, crap.
Okay, if I have the spray and I'm clicking right on your face, you should be dead.
Yes, that's, you know, like the theory with like the hero, and heroes don't die.
Come on, you suck.
This must get shot. No. In the area. Whoa.
Oh man, really?
Spread must get spread.
Oh,
Oh, he
God.
won! I just didn't fire quick
All right,
enough.
that means we're done. That means we're done.
Oh, come on. This is one more. One more.
That's the part that you're putting on the film, right?
Yeah, so, whoa, don't load that. All 1 minute of that trailer took me several hours across multiple days to make, because I'm not the most speedy video editor. But I wanted to get that up. I don't know if you guys are aware, the Steam Summer Sale started, and Retro Tank Party is participating in that, and I thought, you know, spruce up the assets a little bit, make the game look a little more attractive. So, all right, let's see if anyone's managed to join. Aha, here we go. Ricardo, I don't know if it's going to be anyone else other than you and me, so let's maybe just play a short match, and then we'll get down to coding here. Yeah, I have the audio on. Cool. Yeah, it would have been bad if I didn't have the audio on during the trailer. Let's do... I want to do a deathmatch. Does deathmatch make sense with 2 people? Probably not. We'll do like a really quick battle royale. See how that goes. Ooh, and I don't have the music on here. Get a little bit of that in there. Ah, don't shoot me! Or, yes, shoot me. The game is to shoot me. Okay. Need some power-ups. I'm getting like a really low frame rate in Firefox right now. Like, YouTube was playing at a really low frame rate. Now the game's playing at a really low frame rate. Last week we did this and it was much better. Ah, I'm not playing very good at all. Oh no! Can't find me. I'm invisible. All right. This frame rate's making me crazy. Okay. Need another power-up or to sneak up on tank slot here. Ooh! I like cannot aim for anything with how bad this frame rate is. Like he's not where I'm shooting a second after I shoot. Oh, and he's got the railgun! go get a better power up. Oh, here we go. I'm good. Bring it on. Bring it on. This frame rate is impossible. I should maybe have tried Chrome. I don't know. We did Firefox last week and it was fine. I don't know if this frame rate looks as bad to you guys as it does to me. What? How did I win? I didn't even see the winning shot. All right, let's see if I can go 2 and 2. Oh, either I'm not seeing him or he turned in. Oh, there's been no power-ups yet, so he couldn't have turned invisible. There he is. Get him. Ooh, here we go. Power-ups. Yes, tracers. That is the perfect low frame rate weapon. I don't have to aim anywhere near him and it should still hit. Oh man, a 2-player match is never that exciting. And I don't know why I'm having this just nuts slow frame rate here. Alright, so hey folks. You know, I don't know who's here unless you say hi in the chat or something. So, you know, say hi. Let me know what you're working on, what you're interested in. Maybe that'll guide what we end up doing on the stream today. And certainly I'd love to know because I'm interested. So, let me just take a peek at the list of things that I said I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, so last stream, we were working on introducing this new network syncing scheme. We had it kind of working, and then we did a real test over the internet, and it was Andy K who joined the match, and the tank was just wobbling all over the place. I wonder how easy it would be for me to just like get up the video and show you that, but it was crazy. And I think I have that fixed. I fixed this weird movement issue. The tank should no longer wobble all over the place. After digging into the code, what I think it was this was the first time Andy K had ever played the game, and the game defaults to the modern control scheme. There are 2 control schemes, the retro control scheme and the modern control scheme. And when we were working on it, I was like, oh, just forget about the modern control scheme. We'll just work on the retro control scheme so we only are dealing with one thing, and we'll come back later and fix the modern control scheme. And I think that Andy K was using the modern control scheme because it was the first time he played the game. It defaults to that. And so it was just some broken code that we weren't even working on, and that's why I was going crazy. I ended up fixing that. I made it so the modern control scheme works. Let's do a quick live demo and see what happens. So this should be the rollback version. Let me just quick check what Git branch we're on. Yep, rollback. So if we make a quick local match with the in development rollback version, and yeah, whatever, battle royale, that's fine. We'll get our tanks close to each other. And I will switch to the modern control scheme. And I'm able to drive around without crazy wobbling. The re-implementation of the modern control scheme is a little bit different than the way it was before, and I feel like it snaps more harshly than the modern control scheme does in the launched game. But I'm not sure. I never play with the modern control scheme, so that'll need a little bit of tuning, I think, if we end up taking this version live, which I hope we will. I hope that our experiment in rollback networking is successful. So I fixed that. I started working on shooting, so you can see that it shoots. Some interesting thing, if I shoot the trees, it doesn't explode. Isn't that weird? We'll have to debug that today. That's going to be one of the first bugs we're going to be looking at. I also don't know if you can hear it, but like, here, I'll stop talking. It's going like brr, brr. What I've been doing to test the rollback is I added this debug parameter to like roll back every frame. It rolls back 5 frames, which normally wouldn't happen. Normally, if you have all the input, which locally you will definitely have all the input right away, it doesn't roll back unless it needs to. Ooh, and what did we get here? We got an error. Explosion setup. Oh. Okay, so I found some code I need to change. That's nice. We'll put a little to do here. To do replace with spawn manager. which is the next thing I want to show you guys, is the spawn manager, which is the like one major thing I managed to get done in the week since the last stream. But let me show you the debug thing here and how crazy this is. So what's the best way to show that? I think I will go back to an older version when shooting was like really broken. It's been many degrees of broken over the last week. What's a good commit to go back to? Respawning or destroying objects? No. Attempt to fix modern control scheme. Start on shooting. Okay, I think this is a good one to go back to. We'll jump back to this git commit. Here, let me close Godot, because Godot does not like it when I switch git branches while the editor is running. So quick check out this git commit. Oop, local changes. Oh, that to-do I just added. Okay, we're still on that old branch. I'll just commit that little to-do that I added, so it's still there. Added a to-do. And now we'll switch back to that old branch. We'll relaunch the game, and you can see just how crazy this is. So first, let me make sure that that debug parameter that I set to make it roll back 5 frames is actually set. Rollback debug ticks. Okay, so it's not set here. We'll set it. This makes it so every single frame before running the current frame, it'll roll back and replay 5 frames, which is a test of whether we've saved state and restored state correctly, and you know, if we're really dealing with input and handling everything in a way that is safe for rollback. So all of this stuff should be present in practice mode. So let's start with practice mode. Ooh, nothing's happening. Maybe I needed to go one more git revision forward to get shooting here. Let's try a different git commit. We'll just kill those changes I did before. Oh, I'll make my terminal bigger so you guys can see it better. Large is good. So git check out rollback. Let's look in the log here. Okay, so this is the one we tried a second ago. Start on handling rollback, spawning, or destroying objects. Maybe this is a good one to go to. Let's try that one. Okay, yeah, reload, but probably this isn't perfect. Let me just see git status to see if there's something messed up. Nope, nothing's messed up. All right, let's try running it. Oh, and I got to make sure, like before, that the spawn manager is doing that debug thing. Debug ticks 5. All right, let's see. Well, this isn't that bad. So I might not be able to find one that shows like really lots of problems. This just has a little bit of problems. When I first started working on this, it would shoot 5 bullets always, because it would roll back and spawn another bullet, and then roll back and spawn another bullet, and then there would be 5 explosions. There was a period of time too, actually, when I was working on it, where the explosions would just stay there. They would just keep exploding over and over and over again. And the solution that I came up with that is this spawn manager, which is pretty cool. And actually, yeah, let me attempt to explain what problem that it is trying to solve first. Because it is a really tricky problem. Sketchpad. So, yeah, this is my always attempt. How many people are watching? 5 people? Hey, folks. I know some of you have just joined. I don't know if you've seen previous streams. We are working on introducing this network rollback to Retro Tank Party. It's a different network synchronization technique. For the last couple of streams, I've been giving a little intro to it. I'll try to give a really abbreviated version this time, so that I can explain this new problem that I have a solution for that's working so far. Okay, so network synchronization that is trying to make sure that all of the players in a network game are seeing roughly the same thing, so that they can shoot each other and have hits register when they think they should, or have them miss when they think they should, and have a fun time. No network synchronization is ever perfect, so all network synchronization techniques are kind of like tricks, like kind of ways to give the illusion that we are synchronized, that we're playing the same game. So the way that this technique works is we have 2 players, player 1, player 2. they start executing the game at the same time. They go frame by frame, frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. Player 1, this player is pressing right for the first 3 frames, and at this point we don't know what player 2 is pressing. Player 2 is pressing left for the first 3 frames, and they don't know what player 1 is doing. We're going to imagine that we have a 2-frame lag, which means that after 2 frames, the inputs from one of the players will actually arrive at the other player. So that means on frame 3, player 2's input from frame 1 arrives. So a very naive network synchronization technique would be to just stick that here and then keep executing. But what that means is player 1 is always seeing player 2 2 frames ago. They're seeing them in the past, which can create problems if you shoot them where they were in the past, but then a hit doesn't register because now they're actually in a different spot. So the way that rollback works, can I just undo those? Yay! Is that after 3 frames, it injects the input back at frame 1, says this is an L, and then it predicts the next frames, and prediction is usually done by just saying that they're probably doing the thing they were doing last frame, right? If they're pressing left a frame ago, they're probably pressing it now, so we inject a left here and a left here, and then roll the game state forward back to frame 3, and rather than the player kind of like just starting to move left on frame 3 when this arrives, they actually leap left like 2 frames worth to the left, or 3 frames worth to the left if we're rendering frame 3. So that brings the players into more sync. You might not always see the other player in sync. There will be these jumps when rolling back and then rolling forward to synchronize the players. But effectively, for all of the like mechanics or game rules or scoring or whether someone hits or not, they should all be in their real positions. Whew. All right, did that make sense? Hopefully I'm getting better at that explanation every time. Maybe not, but I hope so. So the object spawning problem that I was working on this week is like this. Let's say we are doing 5 frames. Each of these ticks represents a frame. Let's say, yeah, we'll just label them 1 through 5. And we fired a bullet on frame 1. Thanks, Elliot. I'm glad that it's still making sense. And you've had to suffer through many of these explanations. All right, so we fired the bullet. Or actually, no, let's fire the bullet on frame 2. We'll fire the bullet on frame 2. Okay. We want to take all of the bullet. And on well, we'll do one case at a time. There's 2 cases. There's 2 problems here. So we fire the bullet on frame 2. We are on, let's say, frame 5, and we receive input back for frame 1. So bullet's still firing. We have to inject some input back here at frame 1, which means that when we roll back, before the bullet was fired on frame 2, we actually have to despawn the bullet. We have to destroy the bullet when we roll back, and then when we roll back forward, we have to create it again. So yeah, it has to get destroyed because we need to calculate everything in frame 1 with the bullet not being there. And then in frame 2, it needs to be recreated. And then we go all the way forward to frame 5. Maybe this new input injected something that now puts a wall or something. I guess a player, like maybe a player moved in front of the bullet in frame 4 as a result of the input that we just got for frame 1. So maybe now the bullet actually doesn't advance to frame 5. It blows up before we get there or something, right? But the hard problem here is objects being despawned by rolling back before they were created. And that is one problem. The other problem is kind of the reverse of that, where an object despawns and then we need to respawn it. So come on, tool. Let's say we fired the bullet, I don't know, some time ago, like a really long time ago. And we've gotten to frame 3, and the bullet has exploded. This is supposed to be an explosion. And now we're on frame 5. This is where we are. And we have to roll back to inject some input into frame 1. So when we're on frame 5, the bullet no longer exists. It has exploded. That object is gone. So when we roll back to frame 1, we need to actually respawn this bullet in the position that it was in frame 1 so that we can roll forward And, maybe again at 3, we'll be destroying it again, or maybe, now with the new input we have, the bullet will crash into a tree over here and be destroyed on frame 2, whatever. The problem here that we're solving is that it has been destroyed after this point, and when we're rolling back before its destruction, we need to somehow respawn it with all of the same state. This wasn't supported in my existing implementation of rollback that we had been working on the last couple of weeks, because we've just been saving state from Godot objects, and then when we restore state, we're restoring state back to the same Godot objects. There was nothing built in to like respawn or despawn the objects, just like putting the state on existing objects. And to solve this problem, I created this spawn manager alphabetically. Shouldn't I see it? Shouldn't I see the spawn manager? Weird. Oh, because I'm on an older. I was jumping around in commits to show you the broken stuff. Let's jump to the recent version here. After I have created this spawn manager. All right. Let's find it. Spawn manager. Okay, so the spawn manager is a network sync object. Meaning we're adding this network sync group to it, which means, the sync manager will ask for its state and restore its state. And what it stores for state is, see here we have the save state, load state, is like a list of objects that were spawned through it. And I'll show you how that is done. I think that's in base weapon. Yeah, here we go. So we're calling actually the sync manager. The spawn manager is kind of hidden. It's just inside of the sync manager, and then we have this spawn function that we call in the sync manager, which just gets passed to the spawn function on the spawn manager. But we give it a name, we give it a parent that we're spawning the object into, we give it a packed scene that is going to be instanced, and we give it some data, which are kind of like the initialization parameters for this object. And this will, of course, immediately spawn the object, and then it adds it to a list of objects that were spawned. Let me get back to the spawn manager. So we have all the nodes that it spawns, and then it also holds this like spawn records dictionary, which is a list of those like initialization properties. So then when it has to respawn the object, if it needs to in rollback, that it knows how to spawn it again. It has those same properties. And yeah, that's really all there is to know. The interface is really nice, like being able to just make that simple spawn call. And now all of the despawning and respawning will be automatically handled. There's a little bit more to it in that the bullet scene has to know how to respawn itself. So let's go look at the bullet scene. Yeah, so the bullet scene has this network spawn method on it that the spawn manager will call when it is spawning it, because the spawn manager doesn't know anything about how to spawn a bullet, but the bullet knows how to spawn a bullet based on the data that was passed to it. So it will call this network spawn method to actually create it, and then additionally here, some objects can have this spawn preprocess, and that's like an encapsulation thing. So we passed into the like dictionary over here. We just passed in the tank, but we actually just need some specific information off of the tank, but we don't want to have to know that at this point. We want the weapon that is spawning the bullet to just say like, here's the tank, here's the weapon type, do what you need to do. And then on the bullet, it says, okay, well, what we actually need from the tank is this specific data that it pulls off of it, and this gets added to the data that's actually used in network spawn. And this is important, again, because this tank object that we're passing in, we can't just store that as part of the data that we'll use to respawn it, because the tank might not exist anymore. The joy of rollback is the objects that exist now versus the objects that exist at the point when you're rolling back might be different. So we can't just store this tank. We have to grab the properties from it, and then when later we're respawning it, it will have everything that it needs. So hopefully this is all making sense. Oop. Phone is buzzing at me. I meant to completely silence it. Please let me know if I'm talking crazy talk, if this isn't making any sense to you. I'd be happy to go through any more of it, dig in deeper, whatever. And again, like I mentioned in the first stream that we were working on this, I'm going to be putting all of this code in an asset in the Godot asset library so other people who are implementing Rollback can use it. All of the code right now is available on GitLab, on the GitLab page for Retro Tank Party in the Rollback branch, which Elliot, you're the one who buzzed my phone. What are you doing? I'm on a stream. No worries, man. You can go see the code that we're working on right now. You can get to the GitLab for Retro Tank Party by going to the itch page. It's linked to right on there. So yeah, with the way things currently are with the spawn manager, we're able to spawn simple objects, and because it's doing the debug thing where it's rolling back 5 frames and nothing weird is happening, we know that it is successfully despawning and respawning these objects as needed. Now, this issue with the explosion not appearing when we hit a tree is mysterious. Oop, I'm still on... Ricardo says, it turns out that time travel is complicated. Time travel is complicated. Ask Marty McFly. Ooh, what did we get an error here? Oh, that's interesting. So I just pressed escape to leave, and the sync manager was still trying to load state and stuff, even though I'd quit the match. I wonder if I'm missing a stop to the sync manager somewhere. That's a little bug. Anyway, with the chat and with what I was doing, I completely lost my train of thought, guys. What was I talking about? We are working on the explodey things. Oh, we're the tree. The tree. Oh, and I had escape because I wanted to switch. Yeah, that just keeps happening. Okay, cool. Well, that bug's reproducible. Let's put it in the to-do. To-do rollback. When exiting from practice mode, sync manager error about unable to restore state. That should be simple enough to fix, but I don't want to do it now. I want to stop distracting myself every 4 seconds. What I wanted to do was switch to the retro controls because the modern controls annoy me to no end. So we need to figure out why these explosions aren't spawning when it hits a tree. And there's a possibility that that is the physics problem in Godot that I've been suspecting we were going to run into this whole time. That is, when we're rolling back frames and then rolling them forward again, we're not able to force the physics engine to do a tick manually when we ask it to. And that might be the reason that those aren't spawning. We'll dig in deeper and figure out if that's the case. If it is the case, the solution is probably patching Godot. Probably we'll have to change the code in Godot, recompile it, give ourselves a new method that we can call to force the physics engine to tick forward, which could either be a really awesome thing to work on stream, because I don't know how many people watching have hacked on Godot, the Godot source code, and built it, which could be fun. Or it could be a terribly annoying thing to work on stream because we will be compiling C++ code, which means there might be a lot of waiting. So if that turns out to be the case, we'll decide at the time whether we want to dig in or move on to a different problem, because there certainly are lots and lots of problems. But let's address this one first. So what do we got? Yep, reproducible error there. Maybe let's try to fix that really quick, because it's going to happen every time we're in practice mode, and we're going to be doing a lot of stuff in practice mode because it's the fastest way to test. So let's go fix that bug. When we exit a game, we're supposed to be calling sync manager stop. And I think, where are we doing that now? We might be doing that in game. Let's go take a look. We'll search for sync manager. We're starting sync manager here. Where are we stopping sync manager? Nowhere? We are nowhere stopping Sync Manager. Okay, maybe we are stopping it in the match scene. The match scene is where online matches are played. And that would make sense if we're stopping it here and not in the practice scene. Clear peers, add peer, stop. So, okay, I went past it, but I saw it. Quit match, we are calling sync manager stop. So we need to do the equivalent thing, but in the practice scene. So, where do we stop the practice scene? In back button. Okay, so we don't have a dedicated method for it. We're just doing it right here in the back button. Do sync manager stop. And let's go see if we fix that bug. Shoot a bunch of things and then hit escape. Oop, worked. Worked. Okay, we fixed the bug. Woohoo! One bug down. Good to have an early victory. Poke no los dos. Did you get that from like a Taco Bell ad, man? Anyway, it could be awesome and annoying, Elliot says. Yeah, it could be. We'll see. We'll see if we start hacking Godot on stream. Let me commit this fixed bug when with sync manager unable to restore. Unable to load? No, it says restore. Restore state when exiting practice mode. All right. Not Taco Bell, but another another ad. All right. So let's try and get to the bottom of this. So let's go look at the code that is supposed to be spawning those explosions. And the interesting thing is too, actually, it's despawning the bullet at the right time, but it's not spawning the explosion, which is very interesting. So we're going to go look at, I think this is in base bullet or maybe normal bullet. Looks like base bullet. I didn't see it there in normal bullet. Here we go. On bullet body entered. So this should be called when the bullet enters a kinematic body that matches its collision mask. And we are calling explode fire, which should explode us here. What is actually despawning the bullet in this case, though? The lifetime isn't despawning it. Wow. The way that behavior is spread between base bullet and bullet is super confusing, to be honest. Bullet is supposed to be like the normal bullets that come from the just normal weapon and tracer and spread, and base bullet is used as the base class when you want to make like really weird bullets, like the railgun bullet is really weird. But yeah, this just makes it very confusing to maintain. I might need to change how this is done at some point to not confuse myself all the time. But yeah, it looks like when we call explode from base bullet in this on bullet body entered, it calls explode, but the bullet version, not the base bullet version, which does Q free. So it seems like this Q free is being done correctly, but not this explode. Let's just verify that explode is happening as it should. We'll put a breakpoint here. And shoot. And we got the breakpoint. And it's smoke. Wait, did I not shoot the right place? I didn't shoot the right place. Hang on. I need to shoot into this tree. And the type smoke? Oh, it's because, okay. Hang on, I forgot the rules for when we do smoke versus fire. So if the thing that it hits has a take damage method, then we do fire, and otherwise we do smoke, but this is totally coming from the on body entered, because we can see in these stack frames here. Okay, So explode is being called, like it's being called. And the explode method does the same thing regardless of whether it's smoke or fire, unless I like broke the fire explosion somehow, the fire animation. Let's go check that out. Let's see in the explode scene. That would be under, what would it be under? Objects? Objects, explosion. So we're playing an animation of the same name, smoke versus fire. We have an animation player that has fire and smoke. Let's try turning off the debug thing that's rolling back 5 frames and see if that makes it magically work. Because then we'll know that what's breaking it is the rollback and not like just a normal problem in our code. So we'll go to Sync Manager, change our debug, rollback debug ticks to 0, and we'll try that. Oh, and I should have removed those breakpoints. Here we go. I guess I didn't really need to restart it, but whatever. Okay, so it is creating it. It's creating it correctly when we're not rolling back, but it's failing to create it when we roll back. So let's get some more debug information for us. I think this is something in the spawn manager. Let's just make sure we're using the spawn manager correctly for everything. That means explosion has network spawn. It's using the network animation player script. So that's good. Yeah, this should just work because all we're doing is starting an animation player. If network spawn is happening, I guess, yeah, let's verify that network spawn is happening. And like not being skipped for some strange reason. So I put a breakpoint there. Let's open up the sync manager again. And go shoot a tree. Okay, so it's network spawning it. And yeah, okay, network spawn has to be happening because when we did it with no rollback debug, it worked too. Okay, so this test was, I think, unnecessary. But let's just look at it for a second. Anyway, yeah, smoke. All that looks good. Okay, so we do need more debug information. I'm thinking we'll have the spawn manager print out a bunch of junk for us. I did this a lot when I was originally creating it. So I have all these commented out print statements, and we will do more print statements. I would love for a tool that allowed me to not do this with print statements. Oh my God. The thing is that I kind of have to because frames happen so fast. 60 frames a second. I can't run through the debugger because I'll have to like, tick through like 120 frames manually. It would suck so bad. So I have to do these print things and then look at like kind of like a log and try to guess what happened there. But I would love for some kind of tool that showed like a graph of all the things that were happening that I could like scrub back and forth in. That would be amazing. If this gets too insane, maybe the stream will degenerate into us writing that tool. I kind of hope not, but I kind of hope so too because I would love to have it. But let's try this. So we're printing out a bunch of stuff. I think that's all the print statements. I have to stop it real fast. Okay. I have to stop it fast because I don't want it to keep printing things like while the game continues running. Just want to have a thing to look at. So on tick 73, we spawn a bullet. And because every tick, we're rolling back 5 times, we are spawning, or rolling back 5 ticks, we are spawning the bullet the first time it is ever created. In the first rollback, we despawn it once. And then the next roll forward, we spawn it again. Despawn it once. Spawn, despawn, spawn, despawn, spawn, despawn. until ultimately on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th time, we spawn it for good. 5 frames later, we spawn explosion 1. And this is where things get interesting. This is where we need to pay attention. Or wait, no. Did all of my bullets hit the tree? I think all of my bullets hit the tree. So we can look at any of these. We don't need to specifically look at bullet 1 versus 2. So on frame 78, we spawn explosion 1. Despawned, deleted. Interesting. Okay, so sorry that I stopped for a second there. I think I might have an idea of what's happening. So we're spawning it frame 78. The next frame comes along. We despawn it when we roll back. And then when we're saving the state, we are removing... Or no, that's fine. That's bullet 1. We're rolling back bullet 1. So the idea that I had was, because we are like creating the explosion and despawning it right away, that maybe it was never getting saved. And I thought that that save telling us it was despawned deleted was the clue. It's not the clue. But I think that idea is still maybe sound. Let's see, how can we dig into that more? The explosion is being spawned, and then despawned, and then strangely never spawned again. Okay, so what is spawning the bullet? What is spawning the bullet is that collision. And if the collision isn't happening again, if the rollback isn't causing the collision again, then it wouldn't spawn it again, right? So like these times, the bullet is being spawned, despawned, and spawned, and despawned. And the reason it's being spawned again is because the input is being replayed on every time it's rolling back forward. The input being me clicking the button to shoot the bullet. And here it's being spawned. Then in rollback, it's despawning it, which is correct, but it's failing to respawn it because the thing that should respawn it is not happening, right? Is that correct? I think we can verify if that's correct by printing out some stuff at the point where the bullet is supposed to be spawned, or the explosion is supposed to be spawned. Whew. I might have been saying bullet instead of explosion for that whole minute-long section there, but sorry about that. So not here. In bullet, no, base bullet. Okay, so this callback is where we are spawning the explosion, and we're just going to print here spawning an explosion. And if this only happens once instead of 5 or 6 times, then we know the reason that this isn't working is because this isn't being re-triggered. Which would mean that this is the Godot physics API thing, which means we get to hack Godot, I guess. But let's first verify. Let's verify that that's true. Oh, did I save this? I might have forgot to save. Okay. Drive up in here, shoot some bullets, and then quit. All right. Yeah. We are spawning explosion once, never spawning it again. It's totally the physics thing. Oh my God. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to go down this rabbit hole? Should we do it? Should we hack Godot? Open up VS Code here. I have to admit that I'm really not familiar with how the physics engine works in Godot. So this is going to be a whole bunch of kind of wandering around in the dark to figure this out. What is with my directories here? Like, this is like really weird. Oh, because this isn't even the Godot code base. This is, I was working on trying to solve a riddle about reliability and unreliability in WebRTC. So this is actually Google's implementation of WebRTC that I was looking at the other day. Open recent. We ought to go back to Godot 3. Don't save. Nothing I did in here is worth saving. Okay. This looks like the Godot code base. All right, so where to start? So we know that the physics server in Godot is where physics is actually done. And let's find it. IO, I don't know, I'm in IO. We need servers. Modules, drivers, platform, scene, servers. Here we go, servers. We don't want physics 3D, we want physics. And we want the physics server. There's actually two like implementations for the physics server, and I'm not sure when I was looking in here last time if I ever tracked down like the Godot physics like actual implementation. I was like just looking at all glue code, like passing from the physics server to the underlying implementation, but not the real code. So I'm just scrolling through here, trying to get an idea of where I should really be looking. Okay, so body create. Physics server SW, body create. We're creating a body SW, giving it a mode, a state, getting an RID. This may be the code that would create the underlying body for like a kinematic body, which is important to us here. It seems as though the underlying class though is this body SW. Okay, let's go to the CPP for this. How do I do that? Go to definition? I always get so confused. Definition and declaration. Declaration? There we go. Or no. What? Declaration. Definition. I don't want these H files. I want the CPP. All right, we'll go a different way. This would be body SW CPP. Okay, this looks like real. This looks like real physics code. This looks like real physics code. That was the integrate forces up here. Update inertias. This is integrate forces. Okay. Okay, so I will attempt to explain what I'm trying to do here so this doesn't seem like I'm just scrolling through code. Oh wait, let me see what Elliot's saying. So is there some other way you're expected to do this in Godot? It seems weird that nobody else has run into this. Yeah, it does seem weird that nobody else has run into this. I don't know if just folks haven't attempted to implement this networking technique, or they did it with a custom physics engine, which is a possible solution to this problem that maybe I will even do. It depends. It depends on how tricky this looks, because the physics in Retro Tank Party is not even real physics. It's just collision, which is much easier than, you know, integrating forces and constraints and all of that stuff. So I think I probably could implement my own collision detection, and then we could just do that ourselves without touching Godot physics. And maybe that's the simpler way to go, partially because this technique also really would be better if all of the physics calculations were deterministic, and we know that Godot's physics engine is not deterministic. I have a hope in my heart that if we quantize or reduce precision on our floating point numbers, that it will be deterministic enough, but I have not tested that theory. That said, I still would, as a first pass, like to see if there's a way that we can still use the Godot physics engine, particularly because if this method, this ability to take the physics engine forward manually is needed, and we can make a PR for that, integrating that into Godot, and it can get into Godot 4, I think that that method should be in Godot 4, because Godot 4, unlike Godot 3, is going to have the ability to swap out the physics engines. In Godot 3, you just have two choices, Bullet or the custom Godot one, neither of which are deterministic. But in Godot 4, we could maybe make a deterministic physics engine that could be swapped in, and if we have this method available in the API to manually tick the physics engine forward, then Godot 4 will have a much cleaner solution to this situation and won't need people creating their own custom physics code, right? Or collision detection code in our case. So that is why I'm looking at this first. And let me just really quickly do another bad drawing here to explain what I'm trying to find and what we want to do. I don't want to change the color. I want you to make a new thing. Make me a new thing. Create. Go. Do it. Okay. So the way that basically all physics engines work in all game engines is that you have like your game objects, which in this case are nodes in Godot. Eep. That's an E, sort of. And you're copying the position and bounding data into, you know, I don't even know what we should call them, but like objects. We'll say physics objects. You're copying the position and bounding data from the nodes into the physics objects. Then you are like ticking the physics objects forward, and then you are copying their new position and orientation, all that whatever data, back to the game objects. And we need to kick that process off manually. So somewhere in the code, there's a thing that's copying the data from the nodes into the physics engine, ticking it forward, and copying it back. And we need to make up a method for us to do that. And we need to find the place that in the current code it's doing it so that we can copy that code or expose it to GDScript or whatever we got to do. We might have to refactor a bunch of stuff if like this code that's doing what we need to do is like mixed in with some other code of things that we don't need to do. But we're looking for that code. And where I am right now is I'm trying to sort of just get my bearings on where everything is. So it looks like this body SW is doing the actual physics work, I think. Because yeah, we have like these forces being integrated and all this stuff, some tensors. So this isn't the level that we need to be at, but it's good to know that this is what this is. So we need to move a couple levels up. We started here in the physics server SW, which just has these methods. We don't really know what's calling these methods. So let's get ourselves to maybe the definition here. And I forget if VS Code is a way to if VS Code is a way to tell us what other code is calling a particular method. I'm going to try and see if I can find what method you would call on an area to update its position. So here's where we'd create an area, set space. I'm not entirely sure what space means here. That might be like a I don't know, like what physics objects exist in. Maybe they exist in spaces. I've heard other physics engines refer to those as worlds. Attach object, instance ID, set parameter, set transform. Yeah. What is calling this method? Go to references? Is that what I want? Finds all references. Sweet. Okay. Collision object. Get singleton. Set area transform. Okay. So collision object. This is the like GDScript collision object, I think, because that's a GDScript object, right? Let's. Where's my Firefox here? We'll go to Godot docs collision object. Collision object 2D. Yep. Okay. So this is the 3D one. I guess we're VS Code found it for us. So collision object, not 2D, 3D. It's in scene 3D. I kind of wish it was the 2D one, but whatever. We'll start with 3D because it's better than nothing. So let's actually go into this code and take a look. So this is collision object, the 3D collision object class. When it enters the world, if it's an area, it sets its transform based on the node's global transform. Brilliant. Transform changed. When the transform is changed, it also sets the transform. And when it exits, it like gets rid of it. Area, set space, get space. Interesting. Okay, so does that mean that every frame notification transform changed is being called? What is calling notification transform changed? That might help us. I do not know how to do a recursive search in VS Code. I'll try to figure it out. No. Find in files. Notification transform changed. Trying to find something not responding to this, but emitting it, like sending out this notification. Here we go. Scene tree. Node notification. Transform changed. Flush transform notifications. Can we call this? Is this available to us? What are you doing? What are you doing? Take me back there. Sorry, I don't use VS Code very often. I usually actually work in Vim, but I didn't want to do that on stream. And also, like, VS Code is way better for working with C++. Flush transform notifications. Oh, come on. Flush transform notifications. We'll do this the other way. Just say, find me this one. Okay. Scene iteration. Okay, so this is a whole physics frame iteration. I got to start writing this stuff down. This is Godot gold right here. Make a new document. Okay, so Godot physics retro tank party something will help me find it later. Okay, so what have we learned? We have learned that collision body, or the class is probably collision body, is copying its data from the node into the physics engine body area in notification transform changed. Is that what it was? I think so. Let me just pop over here. Notification transform changed. And it is scene tree. Scene tree flush transform notifications that is triggering that across the whole tree. Is triggering that notification in the whole scene tree. And then it was iteration, scene tree iteration, scene tree iteration, or scene, scene tree iteration. Looks like it's the whole physics tick. Notify group pause, physics, SHQ, flush. It's doing, okay, so it's doing flush transform notifications before it starts this iteration. It's doing the main loop, then physics process time emit signal physics frames. This is emitted, I guess, before the physics frame happens. Physics frame, process internal physics process. I'm not entirely sure what that does. possibly pausing the physics process internal method on all of objects? I don't know. Enable pause aware picking. Don't know what that does. Group pause physics process. We're pausing physics process. Flush UGC. What is that? I think I pressed not the right key to do that in VS Code. All right. Flush UGC. UGC locked. Unique group calls. Okay, unique group calls is UGC. Call group flags. Interesting. Okay, so that's kicking off parts of the code where you call what is it? It's unseen tree. So on scene tree where you say call group. So when you call group, those get queued up, and then apparently this function actually calls them, I think. And let's bounce back out of here when I get back to iteration. Why am I not seeing it? Iteration, there we go. And then strangely, it's flushing transform notifications again. Okay, what is actually the physics? What is actually doing the physics stuff though? Okay, so flush transform notifications, brilliant. We need this. That covers this step, copying from the node into the physics objects. But then we need to tick the physics server unless this notify group pause is doing it. Let's see what this does. Ah, okay, no, I got to the right place. All right. Notify group pause, take group order. What in the heck? Copy, so copy, cam process notification. This looks like it's just triggering some notification. So what's it doing with its arguments? So, okay, so this is the group, and then this is the notification. It's finding all the nodes in a group, update group order. I guess I would like to imagine that this is just shuffling the nodes in this group. We're copying those nodes to another vector, setting this up. We're iterating over those nodes, and we are calling notifications. This is just emitting a notification. That's all this is doing. I don't know why it's called pause. Notify group pause. All right, well, let's get back to our iteration here. Notify group pause. So all of the nodes in the physics process internal group are having notification internal physics process called. Okay, so this is calling, okay, so these bits are calling the underscore physics process essentially. The physics process internal is another physics process type method that objects can implement in C++ in Godot. And then the normal physics process, this is the one that we can implement in GDScript. Okay. So that's the physics process. Okay, so I kind of get this. Okay, we're flushing the transforms from Godot into the physics engine. Then we are executing physics process, and then we are flushing them again, I guess because they may have been updated during physics process. When are we iterating the physics engine? When does that happen? Call group flags, group call real time, viewports, update worlds. What is this? No, take me there. Take me to your leader. Why are you not taking me to this? VS Code. We'll try just searching for it. Call group. Must not be defined here. Okay. Let's get back to iteration. I will search for that elsewhere. Come on, VS Code. Iteration. Call group flags. Can you just show me this? Like, what does this come from? scene tree, call group flags. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, call group flags. Okay, so this is just the normal call group flags, right? This is just this call group flags. Calls this method on each member of the given group. It's calling the viewports method. No, what is that? Doesn't make sense. Is the method called call groups flags group method? What do we have in the C++ version? Flags group method. Okay, so there's a group called underscore viewports. It's calling update worlds. That doesn't feel like that's physics related, but maybe. Let's search for update worlds. Oh, it's something we could even find in the docs. Update worlds. Let's do that. We'll go for the, go see what viewport, what its update world method supposedly does according to the documentation. Or update worlds. Sets the size override as a viewport? No, okay, I'm on the wrong thing. Forces update of the 2D and 3D worlds. Very descriptive documentation there. All right, so update worlds. Update in what sense? Are we updating them in the rendering sense? Are we updating them in the physics sense? So find 2D world, update viewport, underscore update. World 2D indexer. What is this? Getting deeper and deeper. Where even are we? What class is this? Spatial indexer 2D. This feels very visual and not very physicsy. I mean, I don't know for sure. Oh, world 2D cell size. What does that even mean? What is that? What is that? Let's go look in Godot. That's a setting in Godot, but I don't know what it does. And so, world 2D cell size. Do we get any description? Cell size used for the 2D hash grid that visibility notifier 2D uses. Okay, so this is totally unrelated. We're going down the wrong rabbit hole. We need to find the right rabbit hole. Scene tree. We're back in here. Message queue, a small little hack. That seems like not related to what we want. Flush delete queue, call idle callbacks. Well, we have part of the puzzle here, right? Let's write down what we know. Okay, is what calls this one. This scene tree iteration is what calls this method and executes all the physics process methods. Okay, so we know that this method, we need this. We need access to this or something calling this. And then we need the next part where we tick the physics engine forward, and that's the part we're looking for. It's the idle loop. This is kind of the opposite. This is process as opposed to physics process, yeah. Or no, maybe it's idle process? What the heck is idle process? Not even sure, but it's not what we're looking for. Not what we're looking for. Maybe we need to head back into the physics server. We came all the way out here to scene tree. Let's go back to the beginning here. How do I get rid of this search? Oh, I guess I click this one. Yay, VS Code. Let's find our way back into the physics engine. So here's 2D scene. We need servers, physics. And we want something that seems like it's at the top. Something that's at the top of physics. Step. See what this class is. Populate island, setup island, solve island. That seems not like what we're looking for. space. Physics direct space state. This is actually, I think this is a thing that exists in GDScript. Let's see what that is. Search for space and just see. Maybe it's not something that exists. Physics, we'll say space state. Bar space state. I mean, I feel like I've heard this before. Accessing space. Physics 2D direct space state. What is this? Direct access to a space in the Physics 2D server. It is used mainly to do queries against objects and areas residing in a given space. Let's just look at the docs of Physics 2D server. Oh, and this has all those methods we were looking at before. Is there just one, like, tick everything forward thing? Like, what in the physics engine is emitting the signal that we need? Maybe we'll start there and work our way upward. We'll start at the signal. Okay, so the signal we care about is on base bullet. The scene, though, I mean, it's body entered and it's an area, so I guess I don't need to find the scene to verify that. So when is body entered emitted? What triggers that chain of events? So let's start with area 2D, and we'll look for body entered. Emit signal. Scene tree string names body entered. Okay, so that's just, yeah, that's just a way to get a string name. I guess there's a pool of them. So here it's emitting body entered. Body entered tree. Are there other things that emit body entered? Yes, there are. Body in out. Added. Body in, if not E. What is E? Just some iterator, right? Element, yeah, it's an element in this map. So tree entered, tree exiting, we're connecting to these things. E in tree, body entered. Body enter tree. The name makes me think this is just like when the body enters the scene tree, but I don't really know. Give me any information here. Go to definition. No, declaration. I always get confused on what those two things mean. All right, so this is what I wanted. It doesn't really help me though, does it? Oh, okay, so get overlapping areas is kind of what we want, right? Like get overlapping areas will do the collision. How does it do its work? Resize it. I don't know exactly what area map refers to. What is area map? Is that like a list of intersecting objects? That seems interesting. Instance, if the obj. Okay, so it looks like we have this area map and we're looping over it. We're checking if the object still exists. If it doesn't, we reduce the size of our return array. Otherwise, we're adding it and returning it. So it apparently already knows like what areas it's intersecting with. What is filling this list? What is making this list have data in it? Area map overlaps area enter tree state element area map find area in out. Okay, area in status. This just seems like it's like updating, it's accounting, but it doesn't seem like it knows. Okay, so we're connecting tree entered to area enter tree, tree exiting to area exit tree. So when it enters the tree, this method gets called. If it's in tree, apparently we immediately execute area entered. And that's because we already have this node. What is node here? Node instance. This node isn't ourselves, or is it? Man. I think this is leaning towards the being very boring side. Trying to hack Godot. I'm really happy we found half of the puzzle. I'm not quite sure how to get to the other half of the puzzle, though. Clear monitoring. Disconnect all monitored stuff. Areas. So what is filling area map, though? Like, what is putting data in area map? I see a lot of querying area map. I see a lot of cleaning up nodes that aren't actually there. Okay, wait, here, we're inserting something. Area in out. What is calling area in out? What is actually calling this method? This is something we can call from GDScript, which is interesting. It's a bound method in the class DB. There's the declaration. There's the definition or implementation. Want to become famous? Buy followers and viewers. Yeah. Okay, I'm cool. I'm cool where I'm at. I don't need to be famous. I just need to find this method. Can you Twitch spam help me find this method? Area in out. What is calling you? Is it public? Can it be called? I mean, it's bound, so like I guess it is public, right? Private technically, but it's bound, so anything could call it. Go to references. Let's search area in out. So this does come up in more places than references is showing us. I guess at least one. Scene string names, which is probably just a collection of strings. This method exists. It appears to be it appears to be what's adding these items to this array map. But what the heck is calling it? What calls this? area in out. Wait. Get singleton, area set, area monitor callback. Okay, so the physics server, we are assigning this area in out to a callback on the physics server. Okay. So now we need to go in the physics server and see what it does with this callback. How does this callback get called in the physics server? So where was that? That was like physics server SW, or maybe we need to go look at. Well, let's start there, or maybe VS Code can take us to it. That would be cool if they could. Physics server SW, set area monitor. Okay. Callback. It's just calling something on the area. Oh, okay, no, not the external area, the internal area. Okay, so it's getting the like physics engine version of the area 2D, and it's calling set area monitor callback on that. So now I guess we need to dig into here, into this area 2D SW callback, area monitor callback. Okay, when do you call this though? When do you call this? Set declaration, definition. I want to get to the CPP file. If anyone knows VS Code better than me, which is probably everybody, I would love to know what you can hit to just like jump to the CPP file when you're looking at the H file. Okay, monitor callback. So we're setting the monitor callback, blah, blah, blah. Let's call the monitor callback. When do we call the monitor callback? Call queries. Interesting. So this is where it gets called. Okay. Cool. What calls call queries? Call queries, can I do get references? Go to references. It says it's right above it in the file stuff. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, in the file list, I have the H in the CPP, but I'm like, my mind is in this big window here, and I just want to jump to the other one. But that's a good place to look for it. That's better than my retyping it technique. Okay, what is calling call queries? Let's jump to back to here, I guess. And where did it go? Call queries. Show me the references. Where is this called? Tell me where call queries is called. It's not very helpful. Oh, on the space. The space calls it. I'm not entirely clear on what a space is. Is it a world? Like a physics world? So in the space, we do call queries. What calls call queries on a space? Go to references. Do I have to go to the H file again? This is call queries. Yes. Oh, this update seems interesting too. Let's check call queries first though. Physics server SW, call queries. Okay. Can we get there? Are we getting there? Flush queries. Is this the physics tick? Is flush queries the physics tick? Because it seems like space call queries goes to area call queries, which will actually emit the signal that we want eventually. And Does that mean that this is what we need? So flush inquiry is true. It calls the queries, then flush inquiry is false. Script debugger is profiling. Then we are calling integrate forces, generate islands, all this stuff. Are those actually getting called? Or no, this is only happening if profiling is happening. Does it not do those if we're not profiling? Like, where's it getting this data from? Integrate forces. That's some real physics going on there. Here's the time names. We're looping over time. Active spaces, spaces, get time elapsed. Okay. So it looks like the spaces are pre-storing some elapsed time, which must be the elapsed time for each of these things. And that must be getting called on call queries. All right, let's write some of this down. So is calling space 2D call queries, which is calling like space SW2D or whatever the heck it is. I'll look up the real name in a second. Let me just write these down, which is calling area 2D SW or whatever call queries, which I think is what emits the signal when an area intersects with something. Maybe. All right. So what is calling flush queries? Gotta again jump to declaration to then jump to references. Flush queries is being called in main CPP. But is that the same? It just says get singleton. Next duty server wrap MT. MT may be multi-threaded, possibly. All right, well, let's go to this main one first. Oh, here we go. Physics duty server get singleton flush queries. Is this advanced physics steps? Are we almost there? Okay. Physics begin. Physics server flush queries. Physics 2D server sync flush queries. Get main loop iteration. This must be scene tree iteration. Get main loop iteration is the scene tree iteration. So we already looked at this. Physics server step nsync step. Oh my god. Okay. This may be the bit. This may be the bit of the code that we need here. All right. Let me copy and paste this and drop it in here. This appears to be the full physics loop. And then I'll put a little note as to where I found this from. From main iteration. Interesting. Maybe I should have started there. Okay, so let me change this up in this Google Doc a little bit so it looks prettier. Do a fixed width. Do consolas. Maybe reduce the size a little bit. I don't know why code looks better when it's smaller, but it does. That's just true. That's just a fact. Okay, so iters is less than physics advance physics steps. I don't know why we're doing more than one physics step, but sure. Physics begin. We're doing, okay, we only care about the 2D stuff. We don't actually want to do this. Because we only want one piece of that, right? Just the flush transform. We do not want all of the physics process functions to be called again. That would create an infinite loop in our case. Message queue. I don't think we want to do message queue, but like, I don't really know. I don't know what sync, nsync, and step is. It would make sense though, like, are we only doing flush queries at the beginning? So, and then it iterates that we did a physics frame. Yeah, I don't think we want to mess with message queue. I think message queue has to do with when you do like call deferred in GDScript. Let's verify that. Message queue, flush, flushing, call, notification, set. Yep. So this would be like set deferred. This would be like call deferred. So we don't want those things to happen. I don't think. Or do we? They would normally happen if we weren't rolling back, actually. They feel like a bad idea in a rollback situation doing call deferred, though. This is interesting, though. I think we have the pieces. I think we have all the little building blocks here to implement our own physics step. We just have to figure out where in the heck are we going to put this? So that we can call it from GDScript. And do we need this physics begin stuff? I think not. We don't need to iterate physics frames here unless it's used for something that is important to us. I'm going to guess not. That's probably used for like calculating the frame rate or something. Let's process max. I think I'm just gonna start writing some code here. I think this is in my console also. Let's restore. I think what we need is something like, and I'm going to start copying and pasting stuff from here. We need physics server 2D sync flush queries. We don't want this, but we do want scene tree flush transform notifications. I don't know why that's getting crazy. Okay, let's switch this to my Solus here. That's like the wrong size too. Whatever. I should probably actually be typing this into VS Code, but I'm gonna just put it here for now. Getting organized here. Message queue flush. So we do want message queue flush to happen after we have iterated a after we've done another round of network process, which in our code is in the sync manager. So we have our kind of like do tick. We do call network process. We want between I think after here, say to do, this is theoretically where we want message queue flush. But I guess that depends on, because yeah, we only want it there if we are doing a tick that's a rollback tick, which maybe we need even like a bool here, like is rollback false. And then and then we want to find do tick, where rollback here, this would be true. What is it complaining about? Is rollback, oh, is rollback bool equals false. There we go. And then we would want to say like if is rollback. Right. But I think this is where we'd want to do the whole physics tick thing entirely. So this message queue needs to be involved here. Where's my VS Code? Or no, I don't want VS Code. I want this one. Okay, so it seems like this sync and flush queries would actually like... Okay, well, no, if we're thinking of queries as triggering the callbacks and stuff, that happens before... Okay, yeah, and we also have to remember that this is where normally our stuff gets called. So we're going to have flushed queries, we're going to have gotten here. We want to do all of our things, and then when we're rolling back, when we aren't rolling back, this is what would happen after. And when we are rolling back, we just do this a whole bunch of times. So between those, we need this to happen. But I think the first thing we want to happen is the message queue flush, because that's the first thing that happens after a normal iteration. So so this would be like message queue flush. Then this needs to happen actually before we start the next loop. Does that make sense? Oh man, this is like inside out thinking. Because we're normally executing inside of this code. And we want to make sure that when we're doing our own rollback, that all of the same things are happening. Well, it calls message queue flush twice. So it should be no problem for us to call it a bunch of times. Like, that should be cool. That should be cool. So we call message queue flush. We do sync flush queries, scene tree flush transform notifications. That's replacing this method here. Then we want to do this and then flush again, right? All right. I think we've got it, more or less. One thing I'm a little worried about is, so like these are singletons, so we can call them from anywhere. Scene tree is not a singleton, but we can get it. Or is it a singleton? It's a singleton, right? We can get the scene tree from anywhere, I think. Let's look for that. Scene tree get singleton. Yes. So we can do scene tree get singleton and call a method on it. So let's do that. Scene tree get singleton flush transform notifications, assuming that's a public method. I actually don't know. I didn't check that. Let's check it now. Scene tree flush transform notifications. It is public. Woohoo! It's public. And then the last thing is we need to a way to access this message queue, which is in main. So where does this come from? Message queue. It is a static global. How the heck are we going to access that? So setup initializes it. if this is set up, wow, this is a monster method here, whatever. So we believe that that is set up. And this is where we were just looking. So it has to be accessible somewhere else because call deferred uses it, right? Like, how are things getting into the message queue? Object somehow does something with it because that is where call deferred lives. That's where that method is. Let's look for call deferred. Ah, here we go. Message queue, get singleton. Brilliant. All right, I think we have all the code we need. I think we do. How close are we on time? Oh man, can we like patch Godot in 15 minutes? Message queue, get singleton. And we need this twice. All right, so we need a class to put this on. And then we need to do it. There was a PR in, not a PR, a proposal. And I want to see if it had a suggestion of where to put this. A proposal in the Godot queue, Godot proposals. And it was like simulate. It was like physics simulate, something like this. Choose. Yeah, here we go. Did it propose a place to put it? No, it just talked about where Unity puts it. Yeah, okay, so we'll pick a place. This is all related to the 2D physics because we're just not touching 3D physics, although we could have one method that iterated both 2D physics and 3D physics. So where's a place to put it? Physics? Is there a... No? Is there a class just called physics? Or do we have physics server 2D and physics server 3D? Well, if we're going to have it do both, and physics server 3D is just called physics server, maybe that's the place to put it? I don't know. Anything else called physics? Physics body, physics bone. I might just for like sheer simplicity, just throw it on the physics object and figure out a better place to put it later. So let's find physics server, and we are going to add a method, or unless, is this the one that's bound? Hang on, we got to make sure that this is the actual class that is bound to physics server in Godot, or in GDScript, I mean. Here we go, bind methods. It totally is. All right. All right. Physics server. We're going to add a new public method. Oh, no, this is not the right. This is physics direct body state, physics query parameters, physics space state, physics server. Okay, physics server. We're in the public section. Just put something at the end once I find where the end is. There is no end. Holy cow. I'll put it at the beginning. Screw the end. Just put it right at the top. We'll say like, we'll say void. Iterate. Simulate. And we're going to go to physics server CPP. And let's get down to like where the methods are for physics server, space state, physics server. All right. And we'll put it below bind methods because everything's below bind methods, I guess. Yeah, whatever. I'm just going to put it right here. Void physics server simulate. And we are going to copy our code that I wrote in this Google Doc. Do what I want method. That is quite a good suggestion. I don't know why I think so hard on things that shouldn't matter, because we can always change them. That's just how I roll, I guess. Yeah, we're not going to submit a PR to Godot right now. We're just going to see, does this work? Okay, so we need some headers because we don't have the message queue object. Include, where's message queue? Can you complete? Ooh, you can complete this for me. Thank you. Unless that needs a path that VS Code's just not giving me. Yeah, we need message queue. What were the other things we need? Physics server 2D. Physics. Why aren't you auto-completing for me? VS Code. That is very inconvenient. I think it's just this. What is this? What directory are we in? Okay, we'll try include physics 2D server .h. And what was the last thing? Scene tree. Scene tree. Which is that has to be in a different directory, right? Yeah. What? Huh? I'll be very surprised if these includes work. I feel like they need to have paths on them that I'm not giving. Let's just try it. I'm just gonna try to compile, see what happens. It'll give me an error, and then we'll fix the error. Let's do 4 threads because I'm streaming right now. Elliot says nobody else does, and we end up with Windows 11. And by does, I think he means thinks about things that don't matter way too much, I guess. Wow, this is recompiling a lot of stuff. I didn't make that many changes, did I? I'm just going to... I should have only changed one file. I changed physicsserver.h. Okay, that's why. Physicsserver.h, leading to a couple of recompiles here. And now, the glory of working in C++. We get to sit here while it compiles. If we weren't so close to the end of the stream, I'd say we should do a playtest while it's compiling. But like, I would worry that we'd go a little bit over, past when it's done compiling, and then we'd be out of time, and then blah, blah, blah. I guess we can start writing our GDScript code, which once we recompile this, should be that. And then we can see how badly this explodes. I told it to use 4 threads, which maybe I should have done more, but I have 8 cores on my machine, and I'm streaming right now. So normally I tell it to do like 10 cores or 10 threads, because there's always like a little bit of lull, so that kind of works out pretty good for 8 cores. But right now, like I'm maxed out. According to the load from top, I am at 8.2, which is right at the tippity top for having 8 cores. But it looks like we're getting close here. 60%. Some Windows crap. We're not even doing Windows. What can we do while we wait? I did make some new screenshots. Do you need to bind the method? Yes. Oh, did I not do that? Ricardo, I do need to bind the method. Physics server CPP. For some reason, I imagined that I'd already did it, but I didn't. Bind methods. Okay. So let's get down to the right bind method here. There we go. Well, this should recompile really fast once we get to it, because this is only in this one single file, so it should just have to recompile this one file. Simulate. And there are no arguments, so I think we can just do the address, physics, server, simulate. There. That should work. And we'll have to recompile, but once it's done, it will just be a quick one file, one link, and then we're good. %. Yeah, like I was about to show, I did some new screenshots for the store pages also before they were all green because I hadn't done the other maps. So now I have some little bit nicer screenshots in here. Tried to capture the action. We have Elliot doing a boost over there. Here, me and Ross are just destroying the crap out of Elliot. Thought I made a good screenshot. Didn't mean to throw any shade on you, man. Yeah, this was just some chaos, a tank exploding, and I guess it was me was the tank exploding. Wasted. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to show the UI. I thought maybe it would kind of show you matches are configurable with modes. But all right, where are we? 82%. We're racing against the clock here. Can you mention it in Discord if this works? I have to get ready for my 12 noon call. Okay, Elliot, yeah, I will. I will totally mention in Discord. By the way, folks who are watching, if you are not already on the Discord, which should be, I think, go look in OBS, should be on the bottom there. Yep. That is probably the best place to stay up on progress of all of the things that I'm working on, whether that's tutorials or you know, hacking on this game or any of the assets I have in the Godot asset library. Yeah, catch you later, Elliot. I'll definitely let you know. I need to come up with like better things to do. If we're going to be working on Godot, like the Godot core itself on stream, we need to have some kind of activities saved up for what we do while it's compiling. Because I've been thinking too, I want to get back into working on VR, and I came up with a reasonable way to show VR stuff on stream. There's a way that you can cast from the Oculus Quest headset to the Chrome browser, and that way we could hack on WebXR support in Godot, which I maintain, and I do want to make some improvements on, primarily performance improvements, and that way we could have a reasonable stream experience where like half of it isn't just like you guys looking at me with a VR headset on my head. I could actually show you what I'm seeing. But if we do that, I mean, there's just tons of waiting for Godot to compile. When I was working on the initial version of WebXR in Godot, I was rewatching Battlestar Galactica on my phone, so I'd have like my phone set up over here, and like every time I compiled Godot, I would press play on Battlestar Galactica, and then when it finished, I would press pause, and I would go back to hacking. Man, you'd think changing one header file would not recompile this much stuff, but I guess it is. Guess it is. And I have a pretty fast computer. What else can I show, talk about, whatever while we're waiting? As far as I know, like this is totally ready to go. Don't know if there's anything interesting in Spawn Manager that I didn't talk about before. It's really very simple. It performs like a really complex job, and it's great that we can just call like a single spawn function and like magic happens and it takes care of the spawning and despawning. But like when you get down to it, it's just like accounting, you know? When it's save state, it cleans up any of the nodes that may have gotten removed. When it's loading state, it first removes nodes that shouldn't be there and then spawns nodes that should, blah, 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 blah. Not that exciting. I think we're not going to be able to use the spawn manager for really complex things that need to be spawned and despawned, like the tanks themselves. I haven't gotten to that point, but I think we're going to have some custom thing in the game.gd to manage the spawning and despawning of tanks special, because they are so weird compared to all of the other objects in the game. But for bullets and explosions, and like we spawn when you do the boost power up and you go psh, and you kind of see that trail, we're spawning like a bunch of tanks behind you that disappear after a little while. That could totally be done with the spawn manager. That shouldn't be any problem. Are there any other Godot projects I've been working on? Oh, here's a non-Godot project, a non-Godot game project I've been working on. I've been teaching myself 65 CO2 assembly language, which is from the same family of processors as the NES, the Commodore 64, the Atari 2600. I've been working on coding for the Commander X16, which is a modern retro console that isn't out yet. But I can show you guys what I've been doing there if I remember what in the heck I called that folder. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? I have a GitLab repo for it. I will find the GitLab repo, and that will let me in on it. But I guess to make a very anticlimactic story slightly shorter, I've been working on essentially implementing Retro Tank Party in 65 CO2 assembly for the Commander X16. Here we go. Retro Tank Party X16. What did I call the directory in here? I can't find it. Oh, because it's not in PRJ. It's in games. There we go. That's where it's going to be. X16. Retro Tank Party X16. And how do I run the X16 emulator? It's actually been like a month or something since I've worked on this, so I'm going to have to remember how to even run it. X16 EMU. Oh, that's simple enough. PRG. It is RTP PRG for Retro Tank Party. And run. Let's see if this works. Oop, opened it in the wrong window. Here we go. And if you can see that, here we go, I made it big. This is an emulator for the Commander X16. And I was able to actually like downscale the tanks. They're significantly smaller. I think they're 128. It's 128 by 128 size tiles in Retro Tank Party, and these I think are 32 by 32. And so I scaled it down just like in I think an A sprite I think I used, and then I had to clean it up like a ton, especially on the angle ones. And I started working on shooting. It doesn't appear to be working right now though. Oh, there we go. Hey. There we go. We shoot a bullet, and it goes. And yeah, it doesn't do anything else yet. That's as far as I got before I kind of put it down and went back to working on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Compile failed. Oh, we're 2 minutes over. Okay, I'm gonna go another 5 minutes. If we don't work this out in 5 minutes, I'll have to tell you about it later. But the include is wrong, which I was kind of expecting. Let's where in the heck is message QH? Message QH is in core. Okay, so it needs to be core / let's try and do this fast. Physics server. Physics server 2D. I mean, that's in like servers, right? That's like not just straight in here. Yeah, physics 2D, which is under servers, right? Oh, servers, physics 2D. Servers, physics 2D, physics 2D, server.h. And scene tree is under like scene tree or something. This doesn't exist. Cannot open source file. Servers, physics. I mean, it wasn't complaining. Maybe it is fine. I don't know. Physics 2D, physics server 2D? Oh my god. Okay, no, physics 2D server. I had it right the first time. 2D server.h. Okay, and then scene tree. It doesn't like that. It seemed to like this. It didn't complain. I don't know. I'm just going to try it, see what happens. This should only take a second to get back because it's only going to compile that one file. It may have to quick take a look at all the files to make sure I didn't modify them. Yeah, scene tree, because of course it's not there. You can tell I don't work in C++ very much, and I don't deal with include files and all this garbage very often. Main, so it's under scene main? Hang on. No. Servers. Oh my god, I'm gonna do this from the command line. I'm better on the command line than in VS Code here. I'll say find scene tree H. Scene main scene tree H. Okay. Do it. Do it. Do it. Come on. I want to be victorious in this stream. Why is it recompiling so many things? I made those changes in the CPP file, right? Oh, maybe it errored out before it finished all the things. And that's why it has a couple more things to do. Oh, because I stepped it without... You know what, guys? This is going to take only like 15 minutes of twiddling to make it work. But like... I'm sorry. Can I just get it done? Can I just get it done? I should start streaming for longer than 2 hours because it seems like we have this happen every week. Like I get it almost done. Frame slice times time scale. Yeah, those variables obviously don't exist. I'm just going to do like... I don't know if this is the right answer. Does it want it to be the delta value? Let's go look. Step. Delta time. Beautiful. Perfect. That's not going to be true always, but it's true for my game. So let's do it. Let's try. Unless I didn't save this. I'll save it again, just in case. If this time doesn't work, doesn't even get us to a point where we can run this, then I'm just calling the stream off. call it a finished stream, and we'll come back to it. Oh, it does seem like it compiled. Compiling servers physics server.cpp. Come on. $100%. Finish linking. Finish linking. And then we're gonna have to close the editor and reopen it again, which is fine. Link it. Link it. Okay. All right, here's our custom compiled version of Godot. Let's go shoot some trees. Gonna shoot the crap out of these trees. A thing? Wow, it's clearly still wrong. But look at that. Our code kind of worked. Oh, now it's not working. I wonder if that even is from our code, or if that's something that would have happened if I got that close anyway. Because it's still kind of not working. Wow. Well, here's what I can say. We learned a lot about Godot, its internals there, and the physics engine. We got, I think, really close to the right code that we need to have this this physics simulate. But man, I guess I'm happy that it doesn't like seg fault and like explode. Like that's good. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Sorry that was maybe not the most interesting stream ever because it was a lot of looking through code. I got to get better about picking what I'm going to work on stream. The way I've been doing it so far is basically just like whatever I'm in the middle of working on and that I'm most interested in. Like that's what I've been putting on stream. But we got somewhere. I think by next week I will hopefully have worked this out. Maybe I will have a PR up on Godot's GitHub or something. I don't know. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Talk to you later.